the Principal Consultant of LKH Precicon, Mr. Colin Koh. Colin, welcome to the stage.
Okay, you all can hear me? Okay, good afternoon. I think I realized that I'm one of the speakers who talk about cybersecurity, right? The rest are talking about the AI, supply chain, MES. Okay, so I'm from LKH Precicon. I'm a business consultant there. Basically, we are working with all the manufacturing, especially the big NMC as well as the SME, to look after their automation as well as the cybersecurity solutions. Okay, so today's agenda, basically, we are looking at the Singapore manufacturing visions. As you know, the Singapore have announced that we are going to achieve 50% more in terms of the GDP for manufacturing in 2030. And also, we are seeing a lot of these threats. I think you know that a lot of companies are facing a lot of this cyber attack, especially the SME may not be prepared for it, but I think it's very important because SME is a form part of the supply chain, right? Against all the big NMC want to invest here. Okay, the other one is we are introducing a framework, IEC framework 62443. So this is an international framework and also is a framework that promoted by Singapore government in terms of the cybersecurity, looking all the critical infrastructure as well as the advanced manufacturing. Then we also will talk about some of the resources that the SME can tap on to improve their cybersecurity resilience. So lastly, we're talking about, okay, enough item, which is, I think, may not cross all of us. I think it's talking about the quantum computing. So you know that when quantum computing is let's say, become a reality, a lot of these so-called encryption technologies will be obsolete, right, overnight. So how can we prepare for it? So lastly, I also will talk about implementation plan for some of the company, both SME and also the NMC. How can they implement to ensure that their plants are safe? So okay, I think the Singapore, I think we have a smart nation more than 10 years ago. So smart nation actually is talking about not only these public services, we are talking about critical infrastructure, as well as a lot of this manufacturing. As you know, that manufacturing actually taken out about 20% of our GDP. So it's a very important component that we have to ensure that this component will be safeguarded. So you know the Industry 4.0, I think this show is talking about Industry 4.0, ITAP, right? So the Industry 4.0 is actually developed from Germany, but it's being sort of worldwide practice, Industry 4.0. Singapore have actually taken very serious about Industry 4.0. So because of that, I think we have also developed an international framework called SIRI, right? Smart Industry Readiness Index. I think this standard is being used by World Economic Forum to earmark those manufacturing companies that become a lighthouse, meaning they'll become one of the so-called showcase company in the world. But the question is we adopt all this Industry 4.0, and of course you know that everybody talking about AI, that kind of things. But is our plant secure? Is our data secure? So this is another question that we have to ask ourselves. So you know that the attacker motivation, there are few levels of motivation. Of course, they come after money, right? Of course, you know that a lot of these SME have been, being attacked by the ransomware. And because your plant need to run, you have got no choice, you have to pay, right? And industrial property and theft, of course, manufacturing company, you have a lot of design, engineering design, IP protection, things like that. How you safeguard that when a hacker come in, right? So this is another issue. So, but you know there are OT environment. So before Industry 4.0, all the factory, I would say the industry in the stage of Industry 3.0. Most of these 3.0 manufacturing actually are isolated in terms of their connectivities, right? So a lot of these plants are still need to run because they have been invested, millions of dollars. They cannot just throw away all the production systems. So that also creates a lot of vulnerability in terms of cybersecurity. So for instance, a lot of these systems are legacy systems, right? There's no protection at all. And also because the machines still need to run for maybe the next 5 or 10 years, right? But without protection, how can they achieve the so-called Industry 4.0? So of course, the cybersecurity expert in the OT also limited. This is why I think Singapore, like our CSA, is trying to train a lot of these engineers. And in fact, all the polytechnics and all the IHL engineering graduate, they have to take this cybersecurity module as a basic in terms for them to go to the industry, right? So this is a situation, that in terms of the cybersecurity readiness, most of these SME actually, they are not prepared, right? So less than 15% of the SME are talking about cybersecurity, but the rest are not. So I think this is one of the big gaps that we need to see how to close. And also, I think if you think that you are just SME, cybersecurity nothing to do with you, I think there's a big mistake because a lot of our SME actually support a lot of global companies. So they are in the supply chain. So in future, a lot of this supply chain, the upstream supply chain, will ask the SME, when you want to be on my so-called approved vendor list, what is your cybersecurity protection? If not, you'll be out of the list. So you are not even in a game when we don't have these cybersecurity protections, also so-called certified platform. So the 62443, in fact, this is a standard you can buy from Singapore Standard Council, right? We actually adopt 100% from the international standard, but we call it a Singapore standard, so the price is cheaper. So for those who want to refer, I think you can always go online and buy it. The 62443 actually are taking a more holistic approach rather than a silo cybersecurity approach, because the framework actually taking from end-to-end approach, meaning you have a production line, you have the supply chain, you have the production, you have the logistics, and you have the customer. So this whole supply chain has to be stitched out, and cybersecurity is form part of a very important component in the supply chain, especially the global supply chain. And when you apply this 62443, actually the framework will allow you to take care of a different aspect. For instance, not all the machines are very critical. So you follow this framework, actually they give you a step-by-step process to identify which are the critical components you need to take care. And also, they have breakdown into 4 levels, right? Cybersecurity level 1 to 4. So it depends on which potential critical component or machine that you want to protect. You can just follow the framework. And this is, I think, the 62443 is about. As you know, I think Singapore, we have promoted a lot of this series framework. In fact, series framework has been used worldwide. If I'm not mistaken, there are many of these so-called assessors. They are actually being so-called certified to so-called to go to the factory to do assessment. But in the first version of the series, actually we're talking mainly on automations and also supply chain. We did not go very deep in terms of cybersecurity. So I think because of the recent attack worldwide, as well as you know, the Gen AI is coming out a lot of very so-called innovative way of getting people to, believe that, for instance, you send an email, you have a click, that's it. The so-called all the ransomware and all these viruses will just go into your plant. So this is something that we try to enhance in terms of Industry 4.0, in terms of the series framework. So you see, the IEC 62443 actually taking care of not only the whole supply chain. They are looking at technology, process, and organizations. So if you apply 62443, in fact, you can be very safe that you are taking care from end to end, not only your process, not only your supply chain, as well as your manufacturing at the same time also in terms of educating your workforce in terms of the cybersecurity. In fact, if there are a lot of these free courses that your employee can attend, right, free, to understand what is OT, what is operational technology, what are the problems in the cybersecurity in the OT space. So I think to enhance your smart manufacturing industry 4.0 and series framework, if you also take into consideration of this IC 62443, in fact, you have a very comprehensive end-to-end, robust, and also because of you taking care of all these cybersecurity issues, you are able to position your company, right, in terms of, let's say you want to become part of the global supply chain. You can tell your partner or maybe your customer that you are protected, right? So anything that documents, IP, for instance, engineering, all this data will be protected because you already being certified to this international standard. So I mentioned that I think Singapore, we are aiming to become an advanced manufacturing hub that is also based on the smart nation. And also we are developing a very strong digital infrastructure. This is why you know that a lot of these global companies, they select Singapore as a hub because we have a trusted digital infrastructure. So the manufacturing vertical, I think we have to take the same message to see how can we leverage on this cybersecurity initiative. I think you know that Singapore, we have a cybersecurity agency. This is the agency take care of all the cybersecurity nationwide. And they come out a lot of, let's say, white paper, trainings, and certifications. So I think this is something that we can leverage on. And also, as I said, for those SME, which you find that you think that you can't afford to even get started, I think there are a lot of this funding that allow the SME to take on this cybersecurity, even as maybe at a low level. From there, you transit to a higher level. So Industry 62443 actually is a very comprehensive framework, but not all the SME can take on at one go. So I think the CSA have come out a lot of these toolkits, allow the SME to slowly take on the first step, then from there you move up the whole supply chain. So as I said that you can always go to CSA website. There are a lot of toolkits. Actually, it's free for you to use, right? So when you use the toolkit, at least you can do your own assessment without even calling the vendor or even the consultant to come in. You must know where are you now before you say that I want to become a very robust cybersecurity plant or factory. So there are also some of these certifications scheme that for SME to take on. If I'm not mistaken, we know that in my customer base, we know some of our SME, they actually being certified under this CSA framework. And because of the certification, they are able to approach this global brand, global partner, say that I'm certified in terms of the cybersecurity. So they are able to plug into the supply list. So I think this is one of the so-called the result. If you spend this effort and maybe some resources, you should be able to get this certification done. And I think under the Singapore Standard Council, I'm actually part of the Singapore Standard Council under the smart manufacturing. We are looking at not only the smart factory in terms of technology. For instance, people talk about AI, IoT, supply chain, MES, ERP, all this. These are the part and parcel of the smart manufacturing. But I think recently we know that a lot of these SME, they need help. So the Standard Council actually also come out a lot of these helpful resources for them to tap on. Okay, another issue is, in fact, not many people want to talk about, is about the quantum computing. So as you know that a lot of our system, even the ERP, MES, SCADA, all these files are actually encrypted. Meaning if people steal your file, they still cannot understand the content because you need a password or whatever to open the file. That is based on the existing encryption technology, which is RSA, right? So I'm sure that those IT people are very familiar with this. What happens if this file is being sort of downloaded by the hacker? They may not able to open the file. I think that's a fact. But as you know, the quantum computing development is very fast. I think a lot of prediction is they will come maybe 10 years later, 5 years. But some people say that if they are fast enough, maybe within the 5 years, the quantum computer will be able for you to decrypt all the file that you think that is being encrypted. That's to say that maybe your process, all the process procedures you have, your IP in terms of design, in terms of maybe bill of materials, in terms of some of the chemical recipe will be exposed. So what I'm trying to say is, you think that, okay, I think quantum computing will not be happening the next 5 years, I'm safe. But what happens if they come earlier? And another consideration is, do you worry about quantum computing that able to decrypt your data? You have to really take a stock in terms of what kind of asset, the lifespan of your asset. For instance, is your engineering design going to last for another 10 years? If you think that this is your IP, it's better that you protect it. But we see that a lot of SME actually, they are thinking that, oh, I think it's not important. But if you have an IP, because your competitive advantage is based on your design and your IP, I think you better take some precaution measures. So if you have no protection at all, I think we have to leverage on whatever toolkits the Singapore government or even our Standard Council provide to you. You kickstart first, right? At least you protect all your file, even it can be decrypted 5 years later. But if you are not allowed the hacker to hack in, you are still protected. Right? That's what I'm trying to say. So you know that, as I mentioned, that these are the issues that currently in the market that people think that, my file is encrypted, I'm okay, I'm safe. But actually it's not true, right? So the long-term impact, as I say, that you have to look at your asset in terms of their life cycle. If your product design is every 6 months you change, then I think it's okay, right? But if your design is going to last for 5 to 10 years, I think it's very dangerous if you are not protecting them from today. So we are encouraging that if you think that you got those assets and IP, they last for 5 to 10 years or even 20 years, it's better you take some safety measure right now. Don't wait until something is happening, then it's too late. For instance, people can already harvest your whatever IP, they wait until when the quantum computing is ready, they just decrypt it. So you think that, oh, I'm okay, but 5 years or 3 years later, suddenly you see another similar product in the market because they are able to sell this IP to other people. So these are the so-called you future-proof whatever you think that is your IP, is your design. At the same time, I think it's also important that because a lot of your partner also pass you a lot of this IP. How you protect them? If you are not able to protect them, maybe in future you'll be out of the list because you are not a trusted partner. Even you are part of the supply chain, right? So we encourage you take some measure, right, step-by-step measures. So for instance, you assess your current stage, as I mentioned. You take a stock of all your manufacturing. What are the IPs and the life cycles, right? If it's a short cycle, maybe you say, okay, it's okay. Every 6 months, I change my product. I change my design, so it's okay. Even people steal that and create a file, I'm okay, because next year I'm coming out a new product. But if as I said, your product lasts for more than that, I think it's better taking care now rather than you have to see how to remedy these problems in the future. And as I said, that you prioritize and also you segment them, right? So in fact, this IEC 62443 also allow you to segment your productions. So for instance, certain production are very critical, right? Because a lot of IP, a lot of process information inside. You may want to protect those process first, right? The rest maybe not so critical. So you are not going to spend a lot of money to protect the whole plant, right? That's not necessary, right? Then as I said, that after that, you need to train your people in terms of how to maintain this OT cybersecurity, right? So as I said, there are many of these courses online or free courses. I think SkillsFuture, we are coming out also a lot of this cybersecurity protection. That include also the OT cybersecurity protection as well. So as I say that, make use of whatever resources available to you, which is free, right? So what happens if you say that, okay, if I take care of my cybersecurity now, what are the benefits? So of course, operational resilience. For instance, you will not be hacked. I know that some plant is being hacked, and because of that, the production will stop for a couple of days. And you know that when production run couple of days and your product is, because of the high value, you can lose hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, right? So that is, you cannot ensure your operation will run continuously. And also regulatory compliance. If you are participating in any Singapore GBs projects, right? In fact, there is a requirement. You need to have a cybersecurity certifications. If you are not even able to participate. You cannot even do your tender, even you have a fantastic product. So this is a compliance I think Singapore government is trying to introduce. Of course, brand recognition, reputations, very important. I think you know that in the paper, you know that a lot of this, for instance, even bank or some of these service provider is being hacked. All your personal information is being leaked outside. So if people know that if I put my personal information or company information in your server or in your systems and it's being hacked, that's it. Next time I will not do business with you, right? So this is another issue that you think that you no need to spend in the cybersecurity. I think it's not true, right? And as I said, there is a competitive advantage. So as I said, that I think one of my customers actually, when they have this certification by this CSA, they are able to participate in one of the global supply chain, meaning they are able to tell them that whatever information you give it to me, you'll be safe, right? So I think this is another trust that the supply chain partner requirements from all the supply chain players. So the key takeaway is, I say that I think the threat is real, right? I think in fact, every day you open up a newspaper, there are a lot of these hacker things. In fact, a lot of manufacturing SME are being hacked, and they are not reported, right? Basically, they say that they may not want their customer to know that they are being hacked, right? So I think these are the real things that we need to really aware. And the 62443 is a standard that you can apply. You can understand them. You can read all these specifications, and from there you take your own measure to protect your plant. So as I say that, align with the national goal. For instance, we want to achieve advanced manufacturing status. How you achieve advanced manufacturing status when you are not even have your basic cybersecurity being taken care of, right? Then, of course, as I say that there are a lot of resources that our national cybersecurity agency is providing, right? And as I said, the quantum trap is real, right? So I think you have to do something now. Don't wait until when quantum computing become available, then you start to look at that. I think it's too late. Okay, so this is, I have written 4 books on smart manufacturing, and I have about 70 newsletter on LinkedIn. You can go and read them, it's free. My company actually is just behind this, right? You can visit our booth to understand what we have to offer to you. And we have a certified OT cybersecurity engineers able to walk you through. If you have any question, you can ask them. We are even able to go to your plant, maybe to do a free assessment, right? So I think this is what we can do as part of the automation community. Thank you very much.